Hello from the Nürburgring. It's the 7th race of the DTM season 2014 and we are here in the green hell ready to burn some rubber.
Yes, let's burn some rubber. Thank you, Verena. Just before we do, though, the Prestige Touring Car Series showed up in the very heart of Cologne only a week before the DTM race at the Nürburgring at Neumarkt Square, one of the most popular places in the famous cathedral city. The spectators were treated to a colourful stage show, which featured, among others, DTM stars Nico Müller and the local hero Christian Vitoris, who hails from nearby Liesendorf in the Eifel region. As we look at various images, the DTM visits the infamous Nürburgring in the Eifel on the weekend of August 15th to 17th. The Grand Prix circuit in the shadow of the Nürburg Peak is always a popular classic in the DTM schedule. The crucial phase of the title race now begins with the 7th race. Audi driver Matthias Ekstrom, a two-time winner here in the Eifel, is 39 points behind the championship leader Marco Wittmann prior to the tradition-rich event. A maximum of 100 points are still on offer to the drivers. Vitoris is the best Mercedes man in the overall standings. Glock was third in Spielberg. Farfus was runner-up. It's a home race for reigning champion Mike Rockenfeller. Pascal Wehrlein will be demoted 3 positions on the starting grid of the DTM race at the Nürburgring. The Mercedes driver was found guilty of an unsafe release in Spielberg after the race. The stewards repealed their own decision made during the race when they declared Wehrlein innocent. At first, Wolfgang Schattling even suspected a mix-up with that of Robert Wickens. Presumably, the penalty was corrected to ensure fairness. Wehrlein's release was considerably more dangerous than the unsafe release in Robert Wickens' case. Wickens received a drive-through penalty for driving off too early. He was black flagged and disqualified because he didn't serve the drive-through within 3 laps. However, the Canadian had not been informed about the penalty by his race engineers. Mercedes tried to have the penalty annulled since it was a wrong decision in their opinion. Imposed penalties, however, have to be served and protests during the race not considered. For Timo Scheider, the race at Nürburgring is a home race. He now shows us the circuit.
Hi guys, my name is Timo Scheider. Right now I welcome you on my home ground at Nürburgring Grand Prix track. Just have a look on the virtual world of racing. Well, now we are approaching start and finish. Starting the flying lap here on the Nürburgring Grand Prix track. This straight is actually the most important for using DRS and maybe taking then the chance to overtake the guys in front down here to the first hairpin, which is normally in first or second gear. Pay attention because the apex drops down massively. Turn 2, there's not so much grip, so you have to be really gentle on the steering and on the throttle. Then the infield, the Mercedes arena, you should be patient. Going to turn 3, there's also the possibility of diving to the inside to the guys in front. Out of the arena, coming to the shortcut, which is normally second gear. The apex drops down here as well, so be gentle on the throttle, use the track completely as much as you can. Then bit 1 also with a lot of speed through the corner if possible. So the corner speed is one of the important points here. Now down to the long back straight. You can use as well the DRS down here. You have the same gain here with like 3/10 roughly till the braking area. Now the slow chicane, that's one of the most important points to get the right braking and to have a car which is proper on brakes, and also traction should be good. And we are coming already back to the last corner up to start finish. Second or third gear, try to squeeze as maximum as you can, and if you made it proper, you have a good lap time. It's 1:28.25, there's still something to go.
The boy wonder from Firth does it again. Marco Wittmann claims his 3rd pole position of the season and again has the best possible chance of victory in the 7th round of the DTM season at the Nürburgring.
It was a great qualifying for us. We made a quite good step forward from free practice to qualifying, also with the car. And I felt so comfortable, so happy to push the car to the limit.
Wittmann sets the pace, but Audi is not far behind. The mark from Ingolstadt shines with a strong team performance at the ring. 5 cars in 2nd to 6th place on the grid. In the internal battle for the best time, Eduardo Mortara comes out on top and claims the vacant slot on the front row of the grid.
It's obviously a very, very nice result, especially because we had some very, very tough times. 6 bad qualifying. We could never really get it done in qualifying for many, many reasons. I could never find the right grip. And today, everything was working very well.
Behind the Audi quintet, Daniel Juncadella starts from 7th on the grid as the best-placed Mercedes-Benz driver. After a difficult season to date, it's a ray of hope for the young Spaniard.
Yeah, I'm happy with that, being my first time in Q3 and the best qualifying of the year. But still not fully happy because I think there was a bit more in there and could have been a bit better in Q3. But you know, qualifying is always pretty hard in DTM, and you have to be perfect and you have to do a perfect lap in Q3, and that's what didn't happen.
The notoriously changeable weather in the Eifel again makes for chaotic conditions at the Nürburgring. After rain early in the session, the track dries out and causes problems for some, particularly the BMW drivers. Timo Glock and Bruno Spengler aren't able to shine in qualifying and have to make do with 16th and 17th places, respectively.
I just struggled with a little bit of balance problems with my car. No question, Marco did a brilliant job today until now, and we'll see what the outcome is, but tomorrow is a new day.
Matthias Ekstrom suffers a major setback. The man that lies second in the driver's standings retires after Q1. That means 22nd place on the grid for the Swede. His third race win at the ring seems a long way off.
Yeah, I mean, mixed conditions, we are for sure not having the best car with the slicks in the wet there, and sure it's disappointing.
Gary Paffett fares even worse than Ekstrom. The Brit also has problems in the first qualifying session. Last place on the grid leaves him unhappy, and things don't really look good for Sunday.
Pretty impossible to do anything, I mean, from the last place on the grid, so it's going to be a very hard Sunday.
Here's the qualifying result for the 7th DTM round at the Nürburgring at a glance. Marco Wittmann shines again and at the same time keeps the strong Audi drivers at bay. Mike Rockenfeller in third place with a good starting grid position for his home race. Jamie Green, likewise, the Brit, will be starting his 100th DTM race from fourth place. Paul de Resta and Christian Vittoris round out the trio of Mercedes-Benz drivers in the top 10. Last year's winner, Robert Wickens, is starting from 13th, behind him Augusto Farfus in 14th. All the way down at the back we find two prominent names, Matthias Ekstrom and Gary Paffett, surprisingly making up the back row of the grid. Wittmann against Audi, Mercedes-Benz also close behind. Everything is set for the race at the Nürburgring. With a 15% chance of rain, the points will most likely be won in the dry. But the Eifel is known for its own unique weather conditions. In any case, excitement is guaranteed.
I'm now here with Jens Marquardt. Now it's absolutely amazing how well BMW is doing in this season, absolutely phenomenal. And Marco Wittmann is leading the pack. What do you think is the key to success in this case?
Well, I mean, it's really something very special for us. It's the first season of our new car, the M4, and really from the first wheel turning, it looked like Marco, the M4, his team, that's really a very strong unit, and they've shown it from the first race onwards. They are really making a fantastic job weekend by weekend, working through the sessions, getting setups together that enable Marco then in qualifying to extract out of the car in himself. He's the heaviest car out there, and he's put some phenomenal lap times in qualifying onto the asphalt and has a well-deserved pole position here.
He's 24 years old, and it's his second season, and he's leading the championship. What do you think, what makes him so strong? And if I would have asked you last year, do you think you would have thought that he really does have the potential, or are you also surprised a little bit?
Well, it's obviously really impressive what Marco is doing here, but you've seen it in lower categories before as well. Yeah, he was super quick in Formula BMW and the other Formula series that he went through, and his first year as a rookie in DTM was a really strong one. Clearly he had to learn a few things then. DTM is a tough format, and you really have to understand how the weekend works, how to manage the tires and everything, and the gradient that Marco's learning has is just extremely steep, and yeah, with the new car, his team, they've just really worked hard over the winter, and Marco has matured quite a bit, and you see it this year.
All right, thank you very much, and best of luck for the race today. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's a packed grid ahead of the DTM race here in the Eifel at the Nürburgring, and packed grandstands all around the circuit as well, with race-hungry fans ready for this DTM battle, as always, between BMW, between Audi and between Mercedes. Just ahead of the race getting underway, as always at any DTM event, an awful lot going on before the race. Some lucky spectators have been out in taxi rides in replica DTM cars around the Nürburgring circuit. The pre-grid race entertainment continues as the drivers go through their warm-up routines and their final checks before clambering into the car. Marco Wittmann, well, his target, of course, is going to be yet another win. Will he be as accurate as this man? Well, he's put himself in the best possible position with pole position and driving the heaviest car. He gains pole position. Right at the other end of the grid is Gary Paffett, the Mercedes driver, who's starting the race on the prime tyre. As you can see, the graphics indicate right on the very right-hand side the tyre that the drivers are opting to use at the start of this race. Going into this round, Matthias Ekström is second in the points, and by goodness, he's got a lot of work to do from P22. He's another one of the drivers that's opting to start the race on the prime tyre. This is Martin Tomczyk then, who's starting the race P17. Martin also joining those on the standard tyre to start the race with. And from Martin Tomczyk, we go to Bruno Spengler. Torrid time of it in qualifying as Bruno Spengler gets ready to get into the car. Chooses option tyres for his BMW as well. Now, this man came within a few thousandths of being on pole position last time out at the Red Bull Ring. Timo Glock. Very different story in qualifying here at the Nürburgring. He's on P15, the Deutsche Post liveried driver. Then we see Augusto Farfus, who was on the podium for the first time this season, last time out at Spielberg in Austria. Augusto choosing to run with the option tyre at the start of this race here in Nürburgring, and his qualifying performance gives him P14. Robert Wickens will be hoping to right the perceived wrongs of last time out and starts on the standard tyre. P13 is the best that Robert Wickens could extract from his Mercedes. Extracting an awful lot from his BMW, though, was Marco Wittmann, our pole sitter.
Yes, here I am with a pole setter. Obviously, safety first. He's just been strapped into the car. Marco, you absolutely nailed the qualifying yesterday. What is the feeling you're going to nail the race today?
Oh, well, I don't know, actually. I tried to do a good start. Try to be in a good position for the first corner and try to see, or let's see what's going to happen in the first lap. I think this is the most important thing. I think the pace we have for today in the dry conditions, so I'm really looking forward to it.
And with all the Audis behind you breathing down your neck, you still seem very cool.
Well, it makes not easy as a life with the Audis behind me, but in DTM the field is always quite tight and close, and I think we will have a nice fight together.
Great to hear from Marco Wittmann. As we look at Nico Müller now, starting from P10. Nico Müller's best result thus far in DTM has been in Russia at Moscow, where he secured a P5. Christian Vitoris then starts from P9. Christian Vitoris, of course, successful in Oschersleben, taking that win, and he goes on the option tyre. And also brilliant qualifying from fellow Mercedes driver Paul de Resta. So Paul manages to put it on P8 with a 1:23.354, running the option tyre as well. Paul's best result also in the rain-affected Oschersleben race, where he took P4. This is Daniel Juncadella, best placed of the Mercedes, P7 on the grid for him, and he'll run on the option tyres as well. The head of the Mercedes-Benz DTM is Wolfgang Schattling. He's down on the grid and is talking to Verena. Let's find out how he's feeling ahead of the race.
I'm here with Wolfgang Schattling. Now, it's going to be a pretty tough race for you, coming from 7, 8 and 9 and looking up into the sky. I don't know, do you think the weather god's going to help you out here, or do you have a good strategy?
I hope we have a good strategy, but the weather god doesn't help us out because there will be no rain. It's definite.
All right. But do you have a pretty good feeling anyway for the race?
I always have a good feeling. If you are not optimistic, you shouldn't go to the start of the race.
Well, Wolfgang Schattling then is our new weather forecaster. Definitely there will be no rain. So P6 for Miguel Molina, going on the option tyre, 123.163, enough to give him P6 for the Audi driver. And there you can see the Hankook yellow branding on the tyre means that he is starting on that option tyre. That's not the case, though, for this man, Timo Scheider, from P5 on the grid, choosing a completely different strategy and going on the standard rubber at the start of this race. So he gives us a wave then, just ahead of the start, and celebrating his 100th DTM start, here is Jamie Green. He, though, choosing to go on the option rubber, his 122.996, giving him P4 on the grid for Jamie Green. The 2013 champion is Mike Rockenfeller, and he must feel that he's in with a great chance of a good result here from P3 on the grid. A good qualifying from Mike Rockenfeller, who of course hasn't had a win this season, and in fact nor have Audi. And perhaps this man offers the best opportunity of the checkered flag for the Audi brand, and that's Edo Mortara, who'll be starting from P2. Wonder how Dieter Gas, Audi's head of DTM, is feeling ahead of the race. He's with Verena now.
Dieter Gas, is going to be a very exciting race. We have 5 Audis chasing the pole setter. How about the very first victory in the season? I mean, it looks pretty good for a podium, or what is your feeling?
Yes, I mean, we're very much looking forward to it. We are very well positioned on the grid for the option tire starters and for the standard tire starters. So whatever happens in the race, we should be in a good position. Nevertheless, we still have Marco Wittmann in front, and we need to see how we can get by.
And what are your informations about the weather?
Well, the current information, it looks to be a dry race, but we all know the Eifel. And I believe it when we see the checkered flag and we didn't have any race.
Well, he's not quite as confirmed on the weather as Wolfgang Schattling was. Marco Wittmann, pole position. Eduardo Mortara runs alongside him. Audi lockout on row 2 with Mike Rockenfeller and the 100th start. Congratulations to Jamie Green. Timo Scheider is the first of the drivers to run on the standard tyres. Then it's Miguel Molina alongside him. To the next row of the grid, and Danny Juncatella from P7 with Paul de Resta alongside in P8. Then we see Christian Vittoris and Nico Muller, P9, P10. Adrian Tombe will run from P11. Maxime Martin, victorious in Russia, is alongside him. Then it's Robert Wickens from P13 with Augusto Farfus for company. Timo Glock starts on P15 and Bruno Spengler on P16. Then we see Martin Tomczyk and Pascal Wehrlein on the next row of the grid. Then it's Antonio Felix da Costa and Joey Hand. Before Vitaly Petrov and Matthias Ekstrom, second in the points, running from P22. And bringing up the rear is Gary Paffett, P23. Well, tension and excitement among the teams before the start of this race. We're in the BMW garage. Now we're in the Audi garage, and let's take a look at Mercedes as well. Everyone waiting for the lights out here at Nürburgring. Cars back from their green flag lap. All eyes on the gantry. 5 lights on. The lights are out. We are away and racing. A great start from Mike Rockenfeller. A poor start perhaps from Jamie Green. Miguel Molina to his outside. Wittmann covers off the inside line. There's a touch between Jamie Green and Miguel Molina as they go around turn 1 now. It is Wittmann, Rockenfeller, then it is Mortara, and look at this, Molina has got problems. He's losing handfuls of places. He's going all the way down the order. From that heli shot we can see. Here is our race leader, Marco Wittmann, P2. Then is Mike Rockenfeller, Jamie Green there being hounded. So too is Bruno Spengler with Adrian Tombe right alongside. There's Joey Hand and Pascal Wehrlein going through. Running wide is Vitaly Petrov. Also running wide is Timo Glock. But already our race leader, Marco Wittmann, is building up a little bit of a head of steam here and building up a bit of a cushion. A battle going on between Timo Scheider and Christian Vittoris, which at the moment Scheider is able to win that battle. Bear in mind, Scheider is the first to show on the standard tyres. There's Wittmann, there's Rockenfeller, there is Mortara, Jamie Green, then is Danny Juncatella, Paul de Resta, Timo Scheider and Augusto Farfus. Side by side for Martin Tomczyk and Robert Wickens as they head up towards the NGK chicane. Who's going to be the first through that chicane? Well, Robert Wickens is holding good his ground, and Tomczyk will have the wrong line there. Indeed, he has to tuck in behind Robert Wickens. Augusto Farfus dives up the inside of Timo Scheider. Option tyre assisted move there. See on board from Timo Scheider now. Augusto Farfus now ahead of him. Here's a replay of the start then. And you can see a brilliant start there from Mike Rockefeller. It was also a brilliant start from Miguel Molina. Let's just see if we can see. There, you can see the touch between Miguel Molina and Jamie Green. Paul di Resta ready to take advantage of that. Paul di Resta running a tighter line through turn one. You can see the smoke coming off the Molina car. Let's see it from a different angle here. Right to the very left of your picture was where the contact was. Bits flying off, I suspect, the Molina car. And this is where Molina found himself in all sorts of strife. Not in strife, though, was Marco Wittmann, as Jens Marquardt from BMW looks on and will be happy with his pole sitter's performance right at the very start. Mike Rockefeller trying very, very hard to get up close to Marco Wittmann, but Wittmann had got the inside line covered off there. A brilliant start from Marco Wittmann. Bear in mind, in the heaviest car on the grid today, the BMW. So let's get back to it, and you can see already Marco Wittmann has built up a 1.1 second lead over Mike Rockefeller in P2. Then it's Edo Mortara P3. Maxime Martin then on Christian Vittoris. Vittoris tries to switch back now, and if Vittoris is very brave and sticks with it here, however, he can't. He has to yield to Maxime Martin. Now Timo Scheider is next in their target sights. Bear in mind, Maxime Martin and Christian Vittoris running on the option tyres. Timo Scheider is on the standard tyres. So they have advantage as Christian Vittoris now gets superior traction out of the turn and should be able to pass Timo Scheider without too much of an issue. Indeed he does, and from onboard Timo Scheider we can now see the Christian Vittoris and Maxime Martin cars make haste their escape up the road. So here is Molina in then. And a punctured tyre for Molina was what the problem was there, and he's not quick away from that stop in the pit lane. Miguel Molina, and here we can see from on board with Christian Vittoris in replay just how Jamie Green and Molina got together there, and bits flying off the Molina car, and there the damage at the back of that Miguel Molina Audi. Here is Timo Glock then in the Deutsche Post BMW. Down there in P20, a brilliant onboard shot that we're able to bring you. And here, a big battle going on between Gary Paffett and Timo Glock in replay. Well, Paffett and Glock really getting together there, and see it from onboard Timo Glock's car. There's where the contact comes, and Gary and Timo as close together as you can possibly be. And now in replay, they get even closer together as Paffett and Glock really come together there. Big battle between Timo Glock and Gary Paffett. There we can see it from another angle, but from that angle it just looks like Glock is T-boning Paffett off the track. Sparks fly, bits of panel work come off. In is Matthias Ekström, second in the points. This is disastrous. They've got a wheel stuck on that car. Well, he goes out, but he goes out with no urgency. Matthias Ekström must feel that his championship chase to Marco Wittmann is fallen well away now. So from our heli shot then, there is Daniel Juncadella and Paul di Resta both getting past Jamie Green. Here we can see it in replay, diving up the inside goes Daniel Juncadella, and now he drives Jamie Green off the circuit, and that helps Daniel Juncadella's teammate Paul di Resta, who is able to take advantage of Green having to run wide there. And oh, is this the end for Matthias Ekström? Into the garage he goes. The end of the race for Matthias Ekström. Just 3 laps of 49 completed for the Audi star. So they open up the back of the car. I suspect suspension damage as well. And I wonder if it's this contact with Timo Glock that caused the damage to the Matthias Ekström car. Or that contact with Petrov. Let's find out.
And I'm here with Matthias Ekström. Very, very unfortunate that the race ended for you so soon. What exactly happened?
Oh, something bent on the right rear. First lap I had a little touch with, I think it was Timo Glock. But the hit was not hard, but he has stood wrong, so it bended the rear suspension. That's it.
I guess it's especially really, really disappointing in regards to the championship.
Yeah, it's always disappointed to end in the garage, but can't change it now.
And also problems for Miguel Molina. His car has to retire. Now, interestingly, the engineers going for exactly the same place. Suspension damage, presumably for Miguel Molina as well. Oh, and now we see Timo Scheider. There's Timo Scheider, there's Nico Müller, both involved there. Bits of bodywork scattering across the track there. Let's see it in replay here. So we've got Robert Wickens up the inside of Timo Scheider. Oh, there's a bit of a touch there. And Timo Scheider rattles into the side of Nico Müller. See that from a different angle. Well, there is the shove from Robert Wickens. That forces Timo Scheider into Nico Müller. So looks like Robert Wickens just completely misses his braking point there. And it ends up with two Audis going round. That is not going to please the Audi pit perch, that's for sure. So Scheider is able to continue, but look at the damage on the side of Scheider's car. Brought about by the contact into his teammate, Nico Müller. Scheider is into the pit lane. Not absolutely convinced they're going to be able to repair that and get him back out again. Let's see. And there's Ernst Moser. And that does look like it's all over for Timo Scheider. Well, I'm not surprised for the extent of the damage alongside. That's a heli shot of Maxime Martin getting past Jamie Green then. Jamie Green tries to fight back, gets oh so close to the back end of Maxime Martin's car. So that's Martin moving further up the order, so too Augusto Farfus, both of them having got past Jamie Green. Christian Vittoris has the all-orange Audi in his target sights now. We're on lap 9 of 49 here at the Nürburgring. DTM, so BMW, and Audi that we see there down the back straight, heading up towards the NGK chicane. Here in replay then, Augusto Farfus goes for the move on Jamie Green. Back end of the BMW just steps out a little bit, and then the sparks fly as they get very, very close together. And as our cameraman swings around, you can see how close they were. This looks like trouble for Nico Müller. We saw earlier Nico Müller and Timo Scheider getting together. Well, looks like the race is over for Nico Müller. You can see here in replay as he, Jerry Hand, whether there is a touch there, but I think the damage is already done. Another party that was involved in that incident earlier, of course, was Timo Scheider, who's with Verena now.
Unluckily, the situation with Robert Wickens happened, so I was fighting for my line down to turn 1, and he was just following and missed the braking in my point of view. Hit my rear end, and I got spun and spun into Nico Müller. Which is a shame because in the end he threw me out and Nico Müller out, and we lost 2 cars, and also we have a huge damage on our car, so it's also quite expensive, I have to say.
Well, for me the whole accident came very surprisingly. I didn't expect an attack or anything, and obviously there was no attack from Timo. He just defended on Robert, and they obviously had contact, and he just skidded into me in the end, and I couldn't see him at all.
Okay, let's get back to the race action here as Jamie Green's having a go at Augusto Farfus now. As look at these two side by side, and well, Jamie Green and Augusto Farfus absolutely together. I think it's the second T-bone we've seen in the race here as Augusto Farfus gets unceremoniously dumped out on the track there. Jamie Green going for the inside line. Farfus turns into it, and Jamie just pummels him out of the way. The one that benefits is this man as we go on board with him, Christian Vittoris, who, as these two are locking horns, well, Vittoris has just taken advantage of it, dives up the inside. You can see in the BMW team garage there, and also in the Audi garage, the look of absolute amazement. Here in replay is Paul di Resta getting past Daniel Juncadella, the run-up to the NGK chicane here. Definitely Paul di Resta had the right line for that. This is our race leader, Marco Wittmann, into the pits then for tyre change. Wittmann will go from the Hankook options to the Hankook standard tyre. Fascinating and fabulous to be on board with Marco Wittmann. So, Mike Rockenfeller becomes momentarily the race leader. So Wittmann onto the standard rubber. And here comes Wittmann out of the pit lane. Marco Wittmann with his pit stop done. Have to be in this early, but chose to do so. Here comes the 2013 champion, Mike Rockenfeller, second on the track. The yellow branded option tyres go, the white branded prime tyres go on. And Mike Rockefeller out ahead of Paul de Resta, who's now come in for his pit stop. Again, Paul de Resta going from the options to the prime tyres. There goes Wittmann, on track safely ahead of Mike Rockefeller, so Wittmann retains his lead. Rocky P2, Mortara P3, Paul de Resta P4, Danny Juncadella stays out. And here is our race leader, the Ice Watch liveried BMW of Marco Wittmann. And Wittmann just missing the braking point in the chicane there, and he goes for the emergency exit. Well, gained no advantage through that because, of course, he's already in the lead significantly. So the gap back to Mike Rockefeller, as you can see. We're on board with Timo Glock now, pounding down Augusto Farfus. The Farfus has just got problems with his car now. Timo Glock goes through without a problem. Funny that. Another BMW. I'm sure it won't be quite so easy for Gary Paffett in the Mercedes, but Gary remains committed around the outside, which will give him the inside for the next turn if he can just stick with it here. He has superior pace, remains absolutely committed, and Paffett makes it work, and he gets past Augusto Farfus as well. Clearly the Farfus car not running so well after the incident with Jamie Green. Wonder what he's got to say about that.
Well, I think he was on the inside, and once we got in touch, he kept pushing me all the way outside, and actually was not necessary probably. I want to see the picture, but it was a very hard maneuver because he pushed me onwards of the track limit, and there was no need actually, so then the car was just too damaged to continue.
Well, as typical of Augusto Farfus, he wants to have a look at the pictures first before making any judgment. Very, very fair individual. Timo Glock now on Vitaly Petrov with Gary Paffett behind. These two have been fighting throughout the race. Vitaly Petrov there in the red. Now he's clearly going to try and help Gary Paffett and very nearly takes Timo Glock out in that incident. Well, Glock does manage to go through, so too does Gary Paffett. But Vitaly Petrov clearly was always going to try and help his Mercedes teammate, and in trying to help his Mercedes teammate, very nearly took Timo Glock off. Here it is. There you go. There's the little nerf. Glock has to get on the opposite lock and try and control it on the curbs. Gary Paffett's going to come through come what may, but fair play to Timo Glock. Some brilliant driving from him then. And quite a save as we see there in replay. And now Gary Paffett up the inside of Timo Glock into turn one. Turn one just gets away from you because it goes downhill. It's very, very sharp. And then into the Mercedes arena. Well, Paffett well ahead of Timo Glock now. The race being led by Marco Wittmann, who's got a remarkable 4.1 second lead over Mike Rockefeller. You can see on the graphics on the left-hand side of your picture as we watch Paffett and Glock continue their duel. Here's a replay of the overtake, and Paffett through on the inside and just vastly superior traction as Glock has to scrub the speed to try and keep it on the circuits there. You can see him actually lock up the front of the BMW. So a great overtake from Gary Paffett. Edo Mortara down there in third place with Paul de Resta chasing hard. So too is Daniel Juncadella in P5. De Resta some 12.3 seconds off the lead. Here's the gap between Eduardo Mortara and Paul de Resta live. It's 1.1. So Eduardo Mortara has got just a little bit of breathing space on Paul de Resta as we reach the sharp end of this race, the closing stages of the event here at the Nürburgring for DTM, and the dark clouds loom overhead above the Mercedes-Benz stand. You can see there, is rain still going to play a part in this race? Here's Martin Tomczyk on Jamie Green. This the battle for P8. Little bit of a lock-up from Jamie Green, and that plays right into the hands of the BMW of Martin Tomczyk, who goes through with ease to take up P8. This then is our race leader, Marco Wittmann. We haven't seen too much of him. The reason being he's been trouble-free right at the front of the pack. And here's Mike Rockefeller, P2, the 2013 champion, chasing down one who many think will be the 2014 champion, Marco Wittmann, who is ahead of him. And now Pascal Wehrlein on Jamie Green, seeing it from the brilliant camera from the back of Pascal Wehrlein's car. Jamie Green tries to fight back, and there you can see those clouds looming overhead. Is the weather going to play a part in this Eifel region right in the very closing stages of this race? So Marco Wittmann last time around had 2.7. Now he's only got 2.1. The fight from Mike Rockenfeller is coming on now. 3 laps left to run. Can Rocky reel in Marco Wittmann? Now, Wittmann chose to go onto the prime tyres a lap earlier than Mike Rockenfeller, so Mike Rockenfeller's tyres are just a little bit fresher, just a little bit newer. As Robert Wickens now on Jamie Green up towards the NGK chicane. And Wickens does it perfectly. So that's Robert Wickens now into P10. Brilliant heli shot that we're able to bring you around the Coca-Cola curve, heading towards the timing line now. So Marco Wittmann, the gap now 1.7 between Marco Wittmann and Mike Rockenfeller. Mike really trying to claw Marco Wittmann ahead. Has all come a little bit too late for Mike Rockenfeller, perhaps. Down the back straight they go, heading up towards the NGK chicane. Now, let's get the live gap. It's 1.8. What Mike Rockenfeller would really like to do is to perhaps pressure Marco Wittmann into making a mistake. But I have to say, on his performances so far this season, Marco Wittmann really has come of age in terms of his maturity in his racecraft. Don't think he's going to be pressured into that. All of a sudden, something to smile about on the Audi pit perch then. Let's see the 2013 champion at work in the Audi. Into turn 1. Really tight this turn 1, and he can see the target ahead of him, Marco Wittmann. Can he do anything about this gap? He's running out of laps to be able to do it. Now, Marco Wittmann's going to be up against backmarking traffic. I think that's Vitaly Petrov ahead of him in the Mercedes. Now, Vitaly should offer no resistance. So, Mike Rockenfeller we're on board with as he chases down Marco Wittmann. Wittmann should be able to get past Vitaly Petrov. Through the cut-through, and Marco Wittmann has no problems with Vitaly Petrov, nor to Mike Rockenfeller. In fact, Vitaly almost indicates left, doesn't he, and allows them both through. Good gentlemanly driving there from Vitaly Petrov, not hampering either of those two. So back on board with Mike Rockenfeller then, as we head down the back straight, he can see Marco Wittmann getting ever closer. The Marco Wittmann car looks bigger to Mike Rockenfeller. The reason for that is he is getting closer. It was 1.8 last time around. He's pulled another 0.3 closer to Marco Wittmann because the gap now is 1.5. But there is just 2 laps and a bit to do. Surely Mike Rockenfeller has left it too late. Marco Wittmann will be well aware of the fact that the 2013 champion is getting ever closer as the Audi garages watch on, so too the BMW garages. There goes Mike Rockenfeller through. 1.4 the margin between Marco Wittmann and Mike Rockenfeller. You can see there we are on the last lap, and surely that gap is too big. What Mike Rockenfeller might be hoping for is a uncharacteristic mistake from Marco Wittmann that would give him the opportunity to get right up close. Now, we did see Marco Wittmann make a mistake at the NGK chicane a few laps ago. If that mistake were to happen now, that would play into the hands of Mike Rockenfeller. So Wittmann needs to keep his cool. And to be fair, for the most part of this 2014 season, he has done just that. He has proven to have really come of age in the DTM. And if he can secure this win, it's another big, big step towards the championship for 2014. So you could be looking at the 2014 champion, perhaps. Behind him is the 2013 champion, Mike Rockenfeller. For the last time of asking, down the back straight, heading up towards the NGK chicane. This is where Marco Wittmann locked up and made that mistake, but he doesn't do it this time. Mike Rockenfeller wrings the neck out of this Audi to try and find every last bit of pace, but I fear as they go round the Coca-Cola turn, it's all too late for Mike Rockenfeller as Marco Wittmann wins at the Nürburgring. He locks up in front of his team. Mike Rockenfeller takes P2. The Mercedes in the centre of your screen is the backmarking Vitaly Petrov car. So Wittmann P1, Rockenfeller P2, and look at the margin of comfort they had over P3 Edo Mortara. Paul de Resta takes a brilliant P4, then it's Danny Juncadella for P5 as there's delight on the Audi garage and even bigger delight on the BMW garage. Jens Marquardt must be delighted.
Jens Marquardt, that really was a big, big step towards the championship. Yet another win of Wittmann, the 4th win this season. How do you feel?
Well, fantastic race, exciting race. Marco did such a brilliant job out there, and but also Martin and Maxime. I mean, they came from quite far back, and 3 cars in the top 10 on a race like this today. This was a very tough job, but the guys did really well. But Marco is just outstanding, and I'm super proud.
He really is, but one quick question. The car was losing a bit of pace in between. Did you get nervous at all between the race?
Well, just at the end a little bit, because obviously, Rocky was catching up, but those 2 guys were anyway driving away from everybody else, and it looked like it would be just enough to get it, and Marco did it, and that was a great job.
Absolutely. Marco Wittmann taking yet another win this season. Mike Rockenfeller, the 2013 champion, P2. Eduardo Mortara, P3. Best Mercedes is P4 for Paul di Resta with his teammate Daniel Juncadella in P5 with Vitoris. Martin, Tomczyk, Wickens, Wehrlein, Tombe and Spengler rounding out the first page of the results. Can see a number of retirements though. Farfus, Müller, Scheider, Molina and Ekstrom. Audi driver that was right up there though was Eduardo Mortara.
Edo, congratulations. It was a tough race, but 3rd place. Is it good to be up on the podium again?
Yeah, I mean, a very tough race. We didn't have the pace, really, with options and standards. We had quite a lot of degradation, and at the beginning it was sort of okay. I could stay with the group, but then they pulled away, and I was never really able to stay in the DRS zone. So I had to defend a little bit from some attacking from di Resta, but in the end, podium again. Congratulations to the team. To Rocky also, because I think he did a very good job, and also of course Marco, who's this year is unbeatable.
So we're up on the podium as Marco Wittmann receives huge trophy to take the win here at the Nürburgring. And you can see Marco Wittmann is wearing a black armband there. That as they pay their respects to the recently deceased Dieter Lamb, the Schnitzer team manager Charlie Lamb, his twin brother. So by way of paying their respects to Dieter Lamb, there will be no spraying of the Henkel-Trocken on the podium here at the Nürburgring as we see Eduardo Mortara taking his 3rd place trophy. It'll be interesting to hear how Mike Rockenfeller felt. He was just reeling Marco Wittmann in at the end of that race, and he's with Verena now.
Let's start off with Rocky. That certainly was a really, really tough race. You were breathing down Marco's neck like hell, fighting like hell. But 2nd place, how do you feel?
Well, on one hand, I'm very happy, you know, after 4 really difficult races, to be back in, you know, on the podium, on the winners' line, let's say, on the winner's circle. Congratulations to Marco. I had not really a chance throughout the whole race. At the very end, I think he struggled a little bit, looked like, and the race was too short to put him under more pressure. But I think he had it under control, and one more, it showed that somehow the BMW this year and Marco is the best package, and we couldn't beat him again, which is frustrating. But on the other hand, I did my best. Was no mistake in the race. I had a good start, and I think P2 and DTM is quite good.
Absolutely. So the champion 2013, and as it looks, the champion 2014. I mean, you're 64 points ahead now. Congratulations, a phenomenal race, really. And at the Lausitzring, if you're 50 points ahead there, looks like you're going to get the title there.
Well, actually, I don't think too much now about Lausitzring. Of course, today was a great race. We scored a lot of points, actually. And yeah, now I cannot say anymore. I don't look to the title, of course. It looks pretty good for me for the moment. But first of all, I think we can enjoy today as a moment. It was quite a tough race, especially to the end. Mike was giving me quite a bit of pressure at the end because I struggled with my tires. So luckily the race was over then, and I could drive home the victory.
But quite frankly, when you go to bed tonight, don't you think you might think of the title just because before you close your eyes and fall asleep?
Yeah, for sure. I think, now with 64 points gap, of course you will think about it. I mean, even before I looked sometimes on the standings, maybe I didn't say it, but of course I had an eye on it, and yeah, now it looks even better.
All right. And Rocky, do you think this is really the next champion 2014 follow-up?
Should be. I mean, so far he's very tough to beat, and I mean, he has a good lead, he makes no mistakes, and therefore I think he deserves where he is. He has the package, and he does he gets the best out of it from the BMWs. I think that's important to say because he still has 7 teammates with the same chance. So personally, I think he should have it under control and should win the championship. But you never know. At the end, he has to wait till he is champion.
We've seen an impressive performance today from the Mercedes driver Paul di Resta. In fact, his best performance since his return to the DTM, and wonder how he's feeling.
It's one of the first races I've enjoyed this year. Definitely a big credit, I think, to the guys in getting the car back together after Spielberg, and the performance seems to keep going. We had good pace, definitely speed for a podium, but unfortunately when you don't qualify up the front, it's always difficult to overtake round this track. But take the positives. Lausitzring's always a track that suits the car, and we'll have a good little break over 3 weeks. We've got a test to try and improve our performance again, and equally when we get to the next one, we'll be hopefully the performance step another and battling for the podium.
Well, good to hear from Paul di Resta. Marco Wittmann then is right at the top of the table on 120 points. Then tied on points, Matthias Ekstrom and Eduardo Mortara, both on 56, with Mike Rockenfeller now on 53 points. Well, we head from the Nürburgring to the Lausitzring, a very different circuit on the DTM calendar, and well, Marco Wittmann could wrap up the championship there. Here's Verena.
And I'm here with our DTM expert, Norbert Haug. Norbert, that certainly was a very, very exciting race weekend here at the Nürburgring. And one thing is for sure, would you agree that Marco Wittmann is unbeatable?
At the moment, definitely. I mean, he was very impressive. He was impressive the whole season, but especially here. And I think he had it under control from lap 1, from qualifying. His fastest teammate was more than 1 second slower in qualifying, and that's a world in DTM. So he's really on the move.
I'm not very good at math, but what I heard is at the moment he's 64 points ahead, and at the Lausitzring, if he will gain another 50 points ahead, then he will snatch the title.
I think it's very likely, but you never know. I mean, DTM guys who are following the series since a while know that anything can happen here. I'm sure that the competition will be strong and will work really hard to catch him, because here it was Marco against the rest of the world, and he had it under control. But I think that will change. It will not stay like that. But the likelihood of him catching the title at the next race is very, very big.
But it's also got to be said, Audi really fought hard. It's very unfortunate that they lost 4 cars, but in P2 and P3 they did a good job too.
Well, they're just that little bit is missing still. I'm sure they're working on it. I mean, they have more than 1 year without a victory. They came close to it, but not close enough. But maybe they can achieve that in the next race.
Right, well, one thing's for sure, it's going to be exciting at the Lausitzring, right?
I'm sure, yes.
All right, well, see you there. Thank you so much, and see you in the middle of September.